You know, one of the most dangerous forms of disrespect doesn't come in the form of shouting or arguments or outright cruelty. It sneaks in quietly. It's the little digs, the so-called jokes, the comments wrapped in laughter. It's when someone looks you in the eye and says something that stings and then shrugs it off with, "Relax, I was just kidding." Here's the truth. Those words are never just kidding. They're a test. They're a way of seeing how much you'll tolerate, how much of your self-worth you're willing to sacrifice in the name of not making a big deal. And the more you let it slide, the deeper the knife cuts. Let me tell you why this is so dangerous. Humor is powerful. It's one of the most effective tools we have as human beings to connect, to bond, to bring light into heavy situations. But when humor is used as a weapon, it becomes something far more insidious because it's hard to call it out. If you protest, you look too sensitive. If you ignore it, you silently accept it. Either way, the other person gets what they want, control. This isn't harmless, it's psychology. Every time a man makes you the punchline, especially about things that matter deeply to you, your appearance, your intelligence, your dreams, he's planting seeds. Seeds of doubt, seeds of insecurity, seeds that whisper, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe he's right. Over time, those seeds grow into beliefs, and those beliefs chain you down. You start adjusting yourself to avoid the ridicule. You walk on eggshells. You shrink just a little at first, until you don't even recognize how small you've become. And here's the part most people miss. Disrespect wrapped in humor isn't just about what's being said. It's about what's being taught. It's teaching you to second guess yourself. It's teaching you that your feelings are overreactions. It's teaching you that your dignity is negotiable. But dignity is not negotiable. Respect is not optional. A man who loves you, a man who values you, will use humor to lift you up, not tear you down. He'll laugh with you, not at you. He'll protect your confidence, not puncture it. There's a difference between playful teasing and corrosive disrespect, and you know it in your gut. One leaves you smiling, the other leaves you questioning yourself. Some of you listening right now are already replaying moments in your head. You're remembering the jokes at your expense, the comments that didn't feel right, but you brushed off because you didn't want to be dramatic. You remember laughing along even though inside it stung. And you told yourself he didn't mean it. But here's what I need you to hear: meaning is revealed through repetition. If it happens once, maybe it was careless. If it happens again and again, it's intentional. It's a strategy. And what does it say about someone's heart if they find joy in making the person they claim to care about feel small? That's not love. That's not partnership. That's not commitment. That's control disguised as charm. Think about it like this. Every relationship is built on an invisible contract of respect. Every word, every action either strengthens that contract or weakens it. A joke at your expense is a small crack in that foundation. And if you allow enough cracks to form, one day the whole thing collapses. Now, people will tell you it's not that serious. Everyone jokes around. And they're right. People do joke around. But the question isn't, does he joke? The question is, who does he joke at the expense of? If you're always the target, if your flaws are always the material, then you're not in on the joke. You're the object of it. And here's the kicker. The more you accept it, the bolder it becomes. What starts as a little jab about your outfit turns into a cutting remark about your career, your intelligence, your family, your worth. And each time you laugh it off, you hand over a little more of your power. Until one day, you're not even sure how to speak up anymore. That's why this is a deal breaker. Because the words we hear the most often are the ones we start to believe. If the man in your life is constantly feeding you words that chip away at your self-esteem, those words don't just stay in the air. They settle in your mind, they echo in your heart, and they start shaping how you see yourself. But here's the beautiful thing: you have a choice. You can decide today that your dignity is worth protecting. You can decide that humor should never come at the cost of your self-worth. You can draw a line and say, that's not funny, that's not love, and I will not stand here and be the punchline of someone else's insecurity. Because let's call it what it really is: a man who uses humor to belittle you is revealing his own weakness. Strong men don't need to make others feel small. Confident men don't weaponize jokes. Secure men don't need to laugh at their partner, they laugh with her. So when you hear those words, when you feel that sting followed by the dismissive, "I was just kidding," don't brush it off. Pay attention. That's not lighthearted. That's not harmless. That's the sound of your boundaries being tested. That's the sound of your self-respect being negotiated down. And here's the truth: once you know the game, you can't unsee it. You'll hear the intent behind the words. You'll feel the shift in the atmosphere. You'll know the difference between love and manipulation. And when you see it clearly, the only logical step is to walk away, because staying sends a message that you're willing to settle for ridicule disguised as love. Walking away sends a message to yourself that your worth is non-negotiable. So let me leave you with this: laughter is supposed to heal, not harm. If a man chooses to make you his target instead of his teammate, you already have your answer. Don't explain. Don't justify. Don't wait for change. Walk away. Because respect isn't built on punchlines, it's built on protection. There's another phrase that should stop you in your tracks. It doesn't come across as a joke, but it carries the same poison, just dressed differently. It sounds like this: "You're lucky I'm with you." Or, "Any other guy would leave you." Maybe even, "No one else would put up with this." At first, those words might not sound explosive. They don't come with yelling or slamming doors. But they carry a quieter, sharper weight. What's really being said underneath is this: your value is conditional on me. Without me, you're nothing. And that is emotional blackmail. You see, relationships should never be built on threats. Love is supposed to be steady ground, not shifting sand. When a man uses withdrawal, whether it's withdrawing his affection, his commitment, or the sense of security in the relationship, as a bargaining chip, he's not offering love, he's offering control. It's not intimacy, it's leverage, and leverage in a relationship always tilts in one direction: power over you. Think about it. If someone says, "Any other man would leave you," what they're really trying to do is anchor fear in your mind. Fear of being alone, fear of being unwanted, fear of not being chosen again. And once that fear takes root, it becomes the leash that keeps you quiet. You stop asking for what you deserve. You stop setting boundaries because somewhere in the back of your mind, you're haunted by the threat that he might actually follow through and leave. That's not partnership. That's a hostage situation disguised as love. Here's the psychology behind it. Human beings crave security. It's one of our deepest needs, to know we are safe, valued, and not at risk of abandonment from those closest to us. When that security is threatened, we will often do anything to restore it, even if it means sacrificing our self-respect. And a manipulative person knows this. That's why they use phrases that dangle abandonment like a weapon, because the moment you start fearing loss more than you value yourself, they've won control over you. But love, real love, is not supposed to dangle security over your head like a prize you have to earn. Real love says, "I'm here. I choose you, flaws and all. We'll figure it out together." Real love doesn't threaten to vanish whenever you misstep. It reassures. It anchors. It builds, instead of bulldozing your confidence. So let's ask a hard question. What kind of man finds power in making the woman he claims to care for feel replaceable? What kind of love needs to keep one foot out the door just to feel in control? I'll tell you what kind. It's not love at all. It's insecurity wrapped in dominance. It's weakness pretending to be strength. Some of you have heard these words before, maybe more than once, maybe enough times that they don't even shock you anymore. That's what makes them dangerous. They start to feel normal. They start to blend into the background noise of the relationship. Until you stop even realizing how corrosive they are, you might even catch yourself repeating them in your own mind, believing the story he's writing about you, that you should be grateful he's here, that you're lucky he hasn't left, that no one else would want you. But let me challenge that thought. If love is a gift, why should you feel lucky for receiving the bare minimum of respect? Why should you feel indebted to someone who uses fear as currency? You are not lucky he put up with you. He is lucky to be with someone who's capable of love, loyalty, and commitment. And if he can't see that, the problem isn't your worth, it's his blindness. You have to recognize this for what it is, a tactic. A man who uses these kinds of phrases is showing you that his idea of commitment isn't rooted in devotion, but in control. He doesn't want a partner, he wants a dependent. He doesn't want to walk beside you, he wants you to believe you can't walk without him. And once you see it clearly, you have a choice. You can either stay and let fear shape your decisions, or you can walk away and reclaim the truth that your value is not up for debate. Because here's the reality: no one who truly loves you will make you feel like love is a privilege you have to beg for. If he can only keep you close by convincing you that you have nowhere else to go, then what he's offering isn't love, it's captivity. And captivity is not worth your heart, your peace, or your future. Let's turn this around for a moment. Imagine being with a man who says, "You're lucky I'm here." Compare that to being with a man who says, "I'm grateful we found each other." Do you feel the difference? One makes you small, the other lifts you up. One makes you dependent, the other makes you cherished. One makes you fearful, the other makes you safe. Words matter. The phrases we hear from the people closest to us don't just echo in the moment, they echo in our identity. When someone tells you that you're lucky they stayed, they're chiseling away at your sense of worth. When someone tells you they're grateful to share life with you, they're building that worth higher. You deserve the second voice, not the first. So if you hear a man say those words, "You're lucky I'm with you," no one else would put up with this. Any other guy would leave you. Don't take it lightly. Don't brush it off as frustration. Don't twist yourself into believing it's just tough love. It's not. It's emotional manipulation. It's a preview of a lifetime spent under the weight of threats and conditions. And the longer you stay in that dynamic, the harder it is to leave, because fear, once planted, grows roots, but so does self-respect. And the moment you decide that love built on threats is not love worth keeping, those roots of self-respect will give you the strength to walk away. Here's the bottom line: real love doesn't threaten to leave, it fights to stay. Real love doesn't make you feel lucky, it makes you feel equal. Real love doesn't use fear as leverage, it uses trust as a foundation. So the next time those words are spoken to you, don't just hear them, listen to what they reveal. Because what they reveal is not a man who values you, but a man who values control more than connection. And when you see it clearly, you already know the answer. Walk away. Not in anger, not in desperation, but in dignity. Because you were never meant to live in fear of being abandoned. You were meant to stand in the certainty of being loved.